Mike McCoy's a quarterback coach. He's going to coach the quarterbacks. He'll also be involved with game planning. That's one of the things I like to do. And the places I've been is where we like to interject everybody and their ideas, but Mike will coach the quarterbacks. Jim Bob is, as a pass game coordinator, can assist the coordinator. He can assist. It's another way of looking at it without coaching a position, right? It's another way of breaking down defenses, help press wherever he needs help. He can assist in the tight end room or the receiver room or wherever it might be, and then also help us with game planning. Everything will run through Press Taylor. He is the offensive coordinator. Between he and I, we'll make the final decisions on everything that we do offensively. I'm coming into an opportunity as a new head coach again, even though I've been a head coach, and yet, I want to make sure that there are guys that have great experience, great teaching, great knowledge, not only of the game of football, but what we're going to teach, offensively with schematics. And I looked into the college, world to bring guys up. I've had guys in Philadelphia where, they came from college. So you're always wanting to hire the best guys. And some of these guys have actual NFL experience playing. And I think that's important as well. There's a lot with the technology and the data and the availability of information that's out there. It's another set of eyes to help us when we put game plans together, and helps us break down all the data, all the information that we're getting from, Exos or PFF or whatever it might be on our players, on our opponents. Some of it's analytical, obviously. And having those guys in place too, because as a head coach, you got a lot of responsibilities doing other things, right? You're diving into the defense, you're diving into special teams, you're in a meeting over here, I'm talking with Trent or whatever it might be. And so having that extra guy, offense, defense, really benefits the coordinator, but it can really help me as well. Every year there's turnover in the NFL, right? I mean, every roster goes through, every team goes through this same process. But when you see flashes, you see, the offense taking strides throughout the course of the year. You see the defense making those strides. And now it's about we got to be consistent every week. There's got to be consistency, and there's got to be ownership with that. But, are we going to go out and add talent? Yeah, we're going to add talent. We're going to add competition. We're going to bring value to the roster. Every team does that, and we're no exception, to that. So, but I see talent here, and I said, I think in my opening remarks a couple weeks ago that it's not an overnight fix, and it's going to be a fix that we got to do it one player at a time, one coach at a time, and get it turned around. Press and I, when I was hired in 2016, Chip Kelly was the coach there for 3 years, and it actually brought Press on board and as an offensive quality control. And he worked with QBs, and I kept him in that role. Then I moved him around a couple years later into the receiver room, and just kind of kept listening to him, giving him more responsibility every year, that I was a head coach, and then eventually got him into the quarterback room, became a pass game coordinator for me, and just a guy that is highly intelligent, very, very smart. He's detailed, he's organized. Everybody, he's the type of guy that as I went through my tenure there in Philadelphia, he's the kind of, you always have the coaches you keep your eye on, right? And he was always one of those guys for me that I kept my eye on. I knew that one day I think he was going to be an offensive coordinator. I felt that in my heart that he could be. And I was going to, eventually make him a coordinator possibly in Philadelphia, and things change. But I'm so excited for him because of the working relationship that we've had, and how we think alike, and how we bounce ideas off each other, and just looking forward to watching him flourish from here. The way I call plays, it's still a very collaborative approach. It's me and Press game day. We're sitting there talking, and he's giving me ideas and suggestions, and I'm gonna. Press is probably going to take some stuff from Jim Bob Cooter or Mike McCoy. They're going to get together between series. I mean, that's how this whole thing works on game day. And at the end of the day, it's coming together and making the right call at the right time, and then, of course, just, teaching our players. But, for me, I'm going to continue to do that. But it takes all of us to get that done. Mike and I, we go way back too. We were former players together in this league. We kind of cut our teeth together on the Eagles staff, him working under Jim Johnson, playing for Jim Johnson, and then, of course, Coach Reed. And then our paths kind of separated. He's kind of been with Todd Bowles, and we know Todd was a head coach, tremendous coordinator in this league. And, the things that Mike's always kind of been in the linebacker room, right? And in the structure of defense that we play, and the majority of the guys in the NFL play, I mean, it fits what we do, and it's an aggressive mindset. And those are the conversations that Mike and I've had, is we want to maintain the aggressiveness. We want to be able to put our players, in position to, make plays. Moving a Josh Allen around, right? Moving a Chase on, moving these guys around, moving safeties around, other backers, and really, presenting a picture to the offense where maybe you don't know where the blitz is coming from. You kind of watch what Tampa Bay did this year and the success they had on defense. But again, it takes players too, and we understand that, right? But I'm excited again for him to really come in here, and having Bob Sutton there, to really, I think, even to help Mike. I think that's a big step for him to use. I encourage, not only myself, but Mike, Press, Jim Bob, the guys, to really, cultivate and reach out to him. And of course, he was in the building, a couple weeks ago. I had a chance to meet him and talk to him. And then, I encourage all my staff members to reach out to the guys this time of year and really start building a relationship with them. And, it's going to be a really good dynamic, because, what I understand of Trevor is, his mindset, how he thinks, and he's eager to learn. He wants to grow, and I've got great teachers in the room that can help him be successful. And that's not only on the field, but I think off the field as well. And that's what I'm looking forward to, in April when we get the guys in here. As I begin to kind of look around the staff, I'm not going to hire another guy as far as that goes, but I will name, an assistant head coach pretty quickly here as we go. But now that we got everybody in place, it really gives me time to get a feel for the guys and the direction I want to go, with that position. The one thing that is consistent, I think, is the growth that, Carson made in year 2, and the growth that we anticipate and hope that Trevor can make in year 2. And that just comes from, him communicating to us communicating to him, starting in OTAs when we get the guys in here and get on the grass and really start working the fundamentals. And, that's where you start seeing I think the growth in young quarterbacks in that second year, into year 3. And it'll be on Trevor a little bit to come in, learn some new terminology, right? Pick up some new ideas, things of that nature. But we're hopeful that in year 2 he'll make some good strides.
Really, that question in Jacksonville, what the Jaguar players do well, we'll let them do that. It's really not going to be, we're going to be this type of defense or that one. I'm going to look at the personnel, understand what they do well, let them go out there and do it well, and that's where success comes from. My history and my influences have been Todd Bowles, Jim Johnson, John Harbaugh, just to name a few, and that's just my nature. And I believe as a coach, when you're on a defense, you have to affect the quarterback, you have to affect the offense, and that enables you to go out there and be successful. Once you see what you have, then you're able to utilize those pieces and get the best out of them. So if you're in New York, we were strong outside. We got to Tampa, we were a little bit young in the back end. So you kind of tweak what you're doing to take advantage of their strengths and kind of hide their weaknesses. In this building, the one thing when I turn on the film watching them is they play hard. They really do. From the front guys to the linebackers to the secondary, they play hard. And that's right there. That's one thing that if you're a football player and you're a true football player, that's something you're going to do. You're going to play hard. And now it's just this coaching staff's job to get them to play hard and play the right way, play the Jags way, and that's our job, and get it done. I think there's a good mix back there with Shaq Griffin. There's guys that have played. You have young guys with talent, and I think they're there's an opportunity for a lot of growth back there with the veteran guys being able to grow, learn this system, and keep honing their skills and teach the young guys how to do it. And when you do that and you build that accountability in a room, then that's when the defense takes off. I'm excited. I spoke with him yesterday, and it was on the phone, so I could see it through the phone. That sounds kind of funny. I could see it through the phone that he's eager and ready to go. He used to be like, Coach, can I come over? I was like, I'm doing a little bit today. Take your time. If you want to swing by tomorrow, I'm fine. But he was ready to go. And you can see the passion in the voice. And one thing he said, he's like, I want to win. And that's what we're about here. I know Doug said it. I'm about it. We're trying to get guys in the best position so we can go out there and win games. When you look at it on tape, their technique last year was going to be different than what we play here. So now you have to teach them your technique, get them out on the field and see, do I need to tweak my technique? Do I need to tweak this to benefit the player? Or can they do that technique? Then we can go on to something else. So mini camps, OTAs, they're going to be important because, one, the teaching aspect of it, and then finding out what players do well and let them go out there and do it. Different terminology is key. So now you go there, if you teach a terminology in a way they can understand it and it means something to them, then you can put two and two together. That's what, as coaches, that's what you hear. We're teachers. We have to teach them the system where they can understand it, not make it so difficult that you're running all over the place. Make it simple where they can understand it, they can maximize their talent to get the job done. That's the thing, turnovers, it's such an important part of the game. Every defense is going to work it, but you have to work it a certain way. You work it and you have to stress getting the ball out, stress the different types of coverages you're going to play. And again, it goes back to attacking, affecting the quarterback. So when you affect the quarterback and speed his process up, that enables you to get a chance to break on the ball here and get a pick, or break on the ball, knock it down, or get a ball tipped up in the air and being able to get a turnover that way. But speeding up the quarterback is key to doing that. And then flying around, understanding what you're supposed to do, getting there nasty, turnovers happen. When we ended up going to Arizona, Brinson came and he was our defensive line coach. And from there, first time coaching, he played in the league. I knew him as a player. First time coaching, he came in, did an outstanding job there. So we've always stayed in touch and become friends, and we lean on each other for that. So I understand what he does for a defensive line room. I understand how the techniques I want, he teaches them. So it's a match that will gel together real nice. Well, with Miles, he was just, Coach, I'm ready to go. Whatever he wants to do. And he's that type of, just talking to him, he's that type of guy that whatever the team asks him to do, he's a team-oriented guy. Whatever we want him to do, he's going to go out there and do it the best of his ability. But as coaches, it's our job to let him go do what he does well, and that's what we plan on doing. When I walk in the building, everybody has a clean slate. But I also get a little knowledge from Tony, from Pat, from Bob that have been here, understand like the personalities and how to approach guys, and got a clean slate, but I'll learn you. But it's also good to have a little bit of, pre-knowledge as someone that's been here about the player.
I'm very excited about the opportunity to work with Trevor. All of us are. That was kind of the one thing that when you mentioned there's an opportunity here with the Jaguars, everybody talks about Trevor Lawrence, the character he has. I was, whether fortunate or unfortunate, I was on the opposite sideline the last game of the year with the chance to get to the playoffs, and Trevor comes out. He's like 20 of 25 in the very first half, 9 of 11 on third down. It kind of lit us up and kept us out of the playoffs. So I definitely remember that. At the time, had a bad taste in my mouth, but now on this side of it, I'm like, that was very encouraging, very exciting to see. And then off the chart, I was telling somebody earlier, being in the division, a lot of the stuff I do, I would just do during the week. I would watch a lot of press conferences from the other team. So I had the opportunity to watch him specifically. I remember when you guys gave him the Good Guy Award for the season. So that was when I was watching and stuff, and the way he handled adversity, success, ownership of certain things, that was very impressive to me. So everything I've heard, that kind of aligned with, I guess, my opinion of him from watching him from afar. Somewhere with the football. It could be anything depending on the play. It's obviously, we've spent time, Coach Parmley was here with him, knows him well, has a good feel for him, but Didn't get the chance to watch him during the season, obviously, with the injury he dealt with, but we've all seen what he did at Clemson. We've seen the clips through training camp or the offseason as they went. So we kind of know what we think he could be, and it's the opportunity to get to work with him through this offseason, this training camp, and really get a feel for what he does well and how we can put him in position to succeed, just like we want to do with all the guys. If that's throwing him the ball, throwing him the ball, handing him the ball, using them in different ways, that's what we want to do. All these guys are really talented, or they wouldn't be at this level, and it's on us to build their confidence to the opportunity where they can go out and succeed at whatever we ask them to do. But at the same time, we should be finding what it is they do well, and that's those are the things we're asking them to do at a high level. So that's kind of the art of coaching, I guess I'd say, of where you reach everybody a little differently. We've had a lot of conversations over 5 years. We've sat in a lot of rooms, speaking the same language in terms of our terminology offensively, and grew comfortable with how we like to attack things, or how we like to respond to things, or what we call things. That's kind of one of the things we've spent a lot of time as an offensive staff, just in the week we've been together, of trying to get on the same page terminology-wise. That's a big thing. We all know what we're trying to say on a certain thing, but I called it this, Mike McCoy called it that, Jim Bob called it that, and okay, but what do we want to call it? And at the same time, in the back of our minds, we'll ask the guys that are in there, what does Trevor know it as? What do our guys know it as? And how can we combine that to be able to hit the ground running as fast as possible? Had the prototypical look where he's big, tall quarterback, has the ability to move, can make every throw on the field. The hair kind of stands out. You notice that when you first turn on tape and see him. But I don't know if I could say what I thought then versus what I thought now. It kind of leapt off the tape that he was obviously very talented. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think he is, well ahead of what you would expect from a 22-year-old. But I mean, that kind of every single person, again, like I talked about, it's a coach finding a way to reach each person is different. The same, to say, here's the expectation for a 22-year-old's maturity level, that's hard to say. The character is a huge aspect to the success of a lot of people. I feel like particularly the quarterback. That's just my opinion of it. There's probably been guys that are jerks that are great quarterbacks, and it is what it is. But I think it definitely goes a long way in terms of winning over a locker room, just the way you handle things. You handle life. You handle success, adversity on a football field, off a football field. I think that matters. The more we can surround them with talented people, the better we feel like our chances will be. But at the same time, we're going to work with whatever we have, and we're going to identify the strengths and weaknesses of those players, put them in position to do what they do well within the scheme of what we'd like to do. So it's kind of all-encompassing. Obviously, we want everybody to be big, tall, strong, fast, can run by everybody, can catch everything. That's the ideal. But until you get everybody that looks like that or plays like that, if we could have 5 Calvin Johnsons out on the field, that'd be great. We'll take that. But until then, it's about maximizing the strengths and weaknesses of the people we have. And so we'll do our best to try to utilize that or build around that. The number one thing you ask for some is accountability. I have no problem if I make a mistake of standing up here and admitting it. I think part of that is a little bit of self-awareness, a little bit of, maybe even just confidence in yourself but at the same time, that's what I would expect of players. If you make a mistake, stand up, say you made a mistake. We evaluate from it. We evolve. We adapt. And that's something, just the specific example you gave him of my brother, I feel like that's something he's done really well as a coach. He stands up. He takes accountability. He evaluates, what happened that led to that moment that maybe he's standing up for. He evolves as he goes, but you're adapting. And when you evolve, you can't go to extremes either, specifically just going on the Bengals. And obviously I kept a close eye on them. They lost at San Francisco. He got up in front of the media and said, somebody asked him, do you wish Joe Burrow had thrown it on 3rd and 4th down? He said, yeah, probably. Next week, they got in the same situation. Joe Burrow threw it on 3rd or 4th down. They won the game. The next week, they had a similar situation. He chose to run the ball. It worked. It was successful, but to me, that's where he didn't go extreme and said, this situation happened. I said I'd throw the ball. That's all I'm ever going to do the rest of my career. It's still making the best decision at that time that's best for your team. And so I think that's important. And I think ownership goes a long way, from players, coaches, the relationship across everybody. If you make mistakes, stand up, say you made a mistake, learn from it, and show that you're going to be better the next time through. So I think that's important. That's speaks volumes to your team and from your players to your coaching staff as well. It's about building the best possible offense, and you got to take a lot of factors into that. We can all walk out there and say we want that top free agent, but at some point he costs a certain amount, and there's a big picture salary cap. So it's all kind of the whole organization working together to make sure, again, we're building the best possible offense for the Jacksonville Jaguars, or that's going to contribute to our team, complement our defense, complement our special teams, put us in position to win as many games as possible. And then just the personal aspect of my family, that was obviously very exciting time for us. We were all geared up. We all went out to the Super Bowl, got a chance to support my brother and his family out there. And then, my wife's super excited to live in Florida. She's excited for the weather. There was a snowfall yesterday in Indy, so she's looking forward. She's just looking at pictures of the beach, I think, and trying to get down here. So we're excited to get them down here. My first name is actually Sherwood. So that's my dad's name. I'm named after my dad. He's named after a grandfather somewhere down the road. And then I've just always gone by Press. I actually named my son Sherwood. His name's Sherwood Press Taylor. We call him Woods, just to take the wood aspect of it, make it different. But my middle name is Press. And all it was my dad was a giant Pistol Pete Maravich fan. So my mom is like a month from delivering me. They're at maybe the Big 8 basketball tournament, and for whatever reason, Pete Maravich is there walking down the stands next to my dad and my mom. She's telling him the story, or he's telling her the story of who he is. His dad, Press, coached him. So Pete Maravich's dad's named Press. My dad was just a big fan, liked the name. When he said it, my mom said that's his name. So that's how it came about. I thought I'd be a basketball player. A lot of people say I should be a defensive backs coach, but I didn't ever have that in me, I guess. I don't know. So.